Okay, Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki Srimvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Ridyantaisthohya Bhadrani Vidhunod Sritsatam Krishna Swadam Upagate Dharma Gyanan Visaha Kalona Stadishyamisha Puranarko Anadoditaha Mahagrantha Srimad Bhagavad Ki. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14, Verse 18. The title of the chapter is The Material World as the Great Forest of Enjoyment. So this title is very literally, this is the content of this chapter, yes? The how is problematic is the fruitive activities, the activities in material world without God, without Krishna's dependence. So this is not the metric of the verse. I broken the metric. I will try read it alone, and after we can read together the word by word. Kvachid grihashrama karma chodanati bharagiri ma rurukramanoloka vyasana karshita manakantaka sharkara kshetram pravishaniva sidati. Okay, let's go together. Kvachit, sometimes. Griha ashrama, in householder life. Karma chodana, of the rules of fruitive activity. Atibhara girin, the big hill. Govardhana. No. Arurukramanaha, desiring to ascend. It's very, very fun, the Krishna consciousness, because devotees remember of Govardhana and the non-devotees remember of Everest. At least it's in the Himalayas. Loka, material. Vyasana, to pursuits. Karshitamanaha, whose mind is attracted. Kantaka Sharkara, Kshetram, a field covered with thorns and sharp pebbles. Pravishan, entire. Eva, like. Sidati, he laments. Okay. Translation from Sanskrit to English by Srila Prabhupada. In household life, one is ordered to execute many yagyas and fruitive activities, especially the Vivaha Yagya, the marriage ceremony for sons and daughters, and the sacred thread ceremony. These are all the duties of a grihastha, and they are very extensive and troublesome to execute. They are compared to a big hill over which one must cross when one is attached to material activities. A person desiring to cross over this ritualistic ceremony certainly feels pains, like the person of thorns and pebbles endured by one attempting to climb a hill. Thus, the conditioned soul suffers unlimitedly. Let's go repeat together. In household life, one is ordered to execute many yagyas and fruitive activities, especially the Vivaha Yagya, the marriage ceremony for sons and daughters, and sacred thread ceremony for the boys with 12 years old around. These are all duties of a grihastha, and they are very extensive and troublesome to execute. They are compared to a big hill over which one must cross when one is attached to material activities. person desires to cross over the ritualistic ceremony certainly feels pains. Like the person of thorns and pebbles endured by the attempting of to climb a hill. Yeah. Thus the conditioned soul suffers unlimitedly. Yeah. Yeah, this is the nature of the material activities. We put a lot effort. It's very, very hard, very, very hard to execute, and we not get nothing. We get more birth and death in the cycle of samsara. This is the material activity for activities, nature. Okay, purport by His Divine Grace, by Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. There are many social functions for keeping a prestigious position in society. In different countries and societies, there are various festivals and rituals. In India, the father is supposed to get his children married. Vrindavan Chandra have three daughters. Too much work. When he does so, the responsibility to the family is complete. Arranging marriages is very difficult, especially in these days. At the present moment, no one can perform the proper rituals of sacrifice, nor can anyone afford to pay for the marriage ceremony of sons and daughters. Therefore, householders are very much distressed when they are confronted by the social duties. It is as though they were pierced by thorns and hurt by pebbles. Material attachment is so strong that despite the suffering, one cannot give it up. Prahlada Maharaj therefore recommends in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Verse 5, Hitvatma patangriha mandakupan vanangato yadharing ashrayeta. The so-called comfortable family position is compared to a dark well in a field. If one falls in dark well covered by grass, his life is lost, despite his cry for rescue. The problem of material life without Krishna, without Bhakti Yoga, is the family life is religious, is moral. So if the person are suffering inside, they screaming, but nobody cannot help it because this is religious, this is morals. Because this is the comparison, this metaphor. If you fall down in a hole, you scream, but nobody heard. Highly advanced spiritualists therefore recommend that one should not enter the Grihastha ashram. It is better to prepare oneself in the Brahmachari ashram for austerities and remain a pure Brahmachari throughout one's life so that one will not feel the piercing thorns of material life in the Grihastha ashram. In the Grihastha ashram, one has to accept invitations from friends and relatives and perform ritualistic ceremonies. By so doing, one becomes captivated by such things, although he may not have sufficient resources to continue them, because these yagyas is too much expensive, there's too much, a lot of gold and cows, clothes, etc., etc. To maintain the Grihastha lifestyle, one has to work very, 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 very hard to acquire money. Thus one is implicated in material life and he suffers the thorn pricks. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmiritan Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistan Stapitan Yena Bhutale Swayanupakadamahyam Dadat Swapadantikan Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripasindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Dvaita Gadadhar Srivas Adigaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Tat Sat. So Hare Krishna, good morning to everyone. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we continue the 14th chapter of 5 canto, and basically this chapter is enlightening about the grihastha life and the material life for activities. So grihastha life is very important to spiritual society, yes, because it devotes put Krishna in the center. But without Krishna, everything is very difficult and problematic. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is Paramahansa Samhita. In the second verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva advised that this Purana don't have topics, subjects about materialistic life. This Purana only will speak about Krishna or the things that conduce to Krishna consciousness. So this is the subject of this Purana. If one heard about the glories of or the necessity of material life, the Vedics, the Shrutis, the four Vedas explain about the worship of demigods like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Lord Shiva, and with cooperation of these demigods in sacrifices, making yagas, these demigods can supply everything that is necessary to the material life, to the household life. So this is the translation for the same verse from Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, desiring to take the responsibility for performing elaborate household sacrifices. The grihastha in the Vedic culture life, in the classic Vedic culture, they make many yagas, especially every day, including if you kill an insect, an ant, or like this, they make these yagas every day to clean these reactions. But in the process of the bhakti, only the process bhakti is enough to clean these reactions. Like desiring to climb a mountain and agitated by his neighbor's absorption in such things like entering a place with thorns and gravel, he laments. Especially because the yaga, the sacrifice in nowadays in Kali Yuga, is the Sankirtan yaga, the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. So this is an important verse. Manupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha sansiddhim paramangataha. Never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries. So the Vedas is very categoric when defining the material world. The material world is a temporary and is a full of miseries. The high intelligent persons conclude that this is true. This is the nature of this material world. But is this world really just misery? I have so much hope of achieving happiness in it. So have many peoples that have the hope to be happy in this material world. Yes, it's a very nice place. But the Vedas point that this person are not material, not is a purified consciousness, not is too much intelligence person. Okay, this is Shikshastaka. My dear devotees, my friends, in today's verse, as in every chapter, a critique is made of the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas that are in the Sama, Riga, Tarva, Yajur Vedas. And basically, Karma Kandiya process is effective with the Hind Vedics, which encourages sensual enjoyment amidst a materialistic society, where the pinnacle of achievement is the pleasure of heaven plants. So the Grihasta make many yagyas, worship different demigods, do with very responsibility your duties, yes, like he marries the sons, especially the daughter. And what is the goal of these materialist persons? The goal is Swargaloka. They doing all these sacrifices, all these duties with the object to transfer in the end of life to Swargaloka. Satyaloka is very difficult, but Indraloka and another planets of demigods where have gardens and celestial pleasures, they is the goal only sense of the enjoyment of the senses. This is the basic, yes. Don't have very deep questions about who I am, what is the life, what is the goal of the life. Yes, don't have rational questions about the life. Inquisition. But the Jnana portion of the Vedas, here Jnana, that are the Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra, here is the philosophy on the Vedas. Here is the metaphysical portion. Here we have spoken about what is the goal of the life, what is the purpose of life. The purpose of life is self-realization. For someone is the merge in Brahmajyoti, but the conclusion of the Vedas is bhakti. Bhakti is the conclusion of the every process of self-realization, is the most higher process of self-realization, because this is the activity of the soul. What the soul do? The soul practices bhakti. Bhakti is the activity of the spiritual soul. But the Jnana portion of the Vedas, the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra, destroy illusion and dreams caused by the initial portion of the Vedas, the Karma Kanda, or Purva Mimamsa. Upanishads Vedanta Sutra is Uttara Mimamsa, the last, the end portion of the Vedas, more higher. Uttara, the transcendental portion of the Vedas. While the Karma Kanda or Purva Mimamsa is the initial, is the beginning of the Vedas, the first steps in the Vedas. In higher level, the Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Paramahansa Samhita, is a book, is a scripture for higher, very higher kind of persons, is equipped with the proper jnana and vairagya. If we don't have jnana, rational knowledge, and detachment of this world is very difficult, but focus the mind, control the senses, and put the mind in Sri Krishna. So these two things, jnana and vairagya, is two tools very important to to companion, to stay together with bhakti. With the proper jnana and vairagya to arrive at complete purity in the process of bhakti without illusions or wanderings. But sometimes, especially nowadays, people are not interested in this bhakti process in God. Oh, this is too transcendental for me. I want to retreat into my everyday life and numb myself with ignorance. Yes, I remember one time I was making book distribution in São Paulo, and I showed the book for people on the street, and they said, "I'm sorry, I don't want to interest in this, because if I go deep in this book, in this philosophy, I will need abandoning my occupations, my desires, my pleasures. I don't want detachment of my desires and my pleasures." So some people go in the forest, and even they have a lot suffer, they want to stay in this forest of illusion. They want to stay in illusion. They like of ignorance. When one is devoid of piety and intelligence, ignorance is a bliss. So many people are covered by ignorance for darkness, but they are satisfied with this. Like in this scene of movie.
Poltrone Sofa gibt's 50% Rabatt.
Poltrone Sofa, 30 anni di qualità.
Do we have a deal, Mr. Reagan?
You know, I know this steak doesn't exist. I know that when I put it in my mouth, the matrix is telling my brain that it is
The Maya.
juicy and delicious. After 9 years, you know what I realized? Ignorance is bliss.
Then we have a deal.
I don't remember nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. You understand? I don't want to be rich. You know, someone important. Like an actor.
The joke is excellent. So this is the nature of many people. The people are in ignorance because they don't want to know about God, about the renunciation or austerity. They suffer, but they think that they are happy in this material world. So now I bring to you some quotes of great thinkers in this material world, in the great writers, and because they have a consciousness, yes, they are karmists, but they can see how this material world is temporary and misery, and they do this with very elegance, yes, big writers. One thing is they can see that this material world is temporary and misery, but with this you need intelligence, jnana. But this jnana don't give access to Krishna. Krishna is God, because only by the bhakti process you can understand, you can access to the revelation that Krishna is God. Bhaktiman abhijanati yavanyas chasmita totaha. Only by the process of bhakti one can understand by revelation of God that Krishna is the Supreme Person of God. But one really intelligent person in this material world can see how this material world is temporary and misery. So, great authors of the West who saw the darkness. The French writer Honoré de Balzac managed to perceive the network of intrigues within the major book publishers and the press. Yes, these big industries, these big companies, so it's like big sharks. It's a big association of Maya in material world. How these are machines of manipulation in his book Lost Illusions. It's a very suggestive name, title of his book of Balzac. Journalism is an intellectual debauchery. One sells the pen as one sells the body. The article is a coin and talent a commodity. Yes, totally materialistic. Yes, this is the relationships in this social media. Lucien understood that in order to succeed, he would have to lie, flatter, and destroy reputations, all in the name of survival. So another great writer was Gustave Flaubert, the French novelist Gustave Flaubert, author of the book Madame Bovary, reflects on the futility of everyday life and domestic life, extremely discouraging for someone inquisitive about the absolute truth. She now took part in the housework. She wore a cotton cap, let her nails grow, and went about the house all day long, dusting furniture, looking after lining, and supervising the cooking. The little girl toddled about near her. She felt bored, and her days seemed endless, always the same, with nothing new in a succession of identical days without color, without soul. This describes the life in day by day in material life. Especially for the intelligent persons, the material life is so bored, yes? For the common peoples, maybe have some satisfaction, but for the intelligent peoples, no. Okay, this is a great great writer from Brazil, the Machado de Assis. He was a son of slaves, but freedom slaves. And he's not black, but he's not white. He's mixed. In Brazil, we call of mulatto, one son of a white and black person. And he is genius. He's a genius with rights, with the letters. The great work of Rio de Janeiro author Machado de Assis, in his book Posthumous Memories of Brás Cubas, narrated by a dead man. This book is fantastic because the main person, the narrator, is a corpse. Narrated by a dead man, ironizes the customs of the 19th century Brazilian elite, revealing the emptiness of social conventions and bourgeois life. Quote, life is full of obligations we fulfill no matter how bored we are. That's how I ended up at Consular Dutre's funeral. I didn't like him. We never got along, but I went. It was expected. Society demands these displays. So there I was in informal dress, black tie, a solemn face, listening to speeches and watching tears that meant nothing. It all struck me as a grand comedy, and I, one of the actors, performing without conviction. So this is American writer. I try getting writers from different parts. I'm sorry, I not found a Swiss writer. I don't know why, but this is the Scott Fitzgerald from America. This is a first quote. This is a quote direct. This is a valley of ashes, because he criticized the life of rich peoples in America. He make a X-ray of the life of the rich peoples in America, the millionaires. This is a valley of ashes, a fantastic farm where ashes grow like wet into ridges and hills and grotesque gardens, where ashes take the forms of houses and chimneys and rising smoke, and finally, with a transcendent effort of men who move dimly and already crumbling through the powder air. This description of the Valley of Ashes contained in the book The Great Gatsby by American author F. Scott Fitzgerald is a powerful metaphor, a place where everything, even people, seems to disintegrate under the weight of moral decay and obsessions with status. Yes, power, status, prestige, like the Veda says. Pratistha, prestige. It is a dark contemporary to the lavish parts of West Egg, revealing that behind the elite's glamorous facade lies a world corroded by superficiality and inequality. So for end, I quote a Russian author. The Russian literature is very important, especially because of Dostoevsky and Tolstoy, and they are very, very sharp authors. It's a nectar, the Russian literature. The stupendous Russian literature, which gave the world authors such as Fyodor Dostoevsky and Leo Tolstoy. I bring a Russian because we have many, many devotees from East European, but don't have a Russian on there maybe. On the internet. It's profound and philosophical, but also relentless in its portrayal of social decay and existential monotony. One of the authors who stood out most in the regard this was Anton Chekhov, a master of subtext and subtle critique of bourgeois of provincial life. Open quote, in the play Cherry Orchard, said, "Life passed as if it had never been lived. We look back and see nothing, only parties, empty conversations, wasted money, and that orchard." So, what he shows that everything is temporary. Yeah? Is nonsense, yes, futility, and temporary, which will now be sold. Everything feels like a dream, and we sleepwalkers. So, for you not criticize me and say that I speak only Boga, I bring the Vedas quotations, the quotes. So that they don't say that I didn't quote the Vedas, but for one have a real intelligence, real sagacity. These quotes of these authors is very important also. It's reveal the nature of the word. So here Kapila Deva on materialist life and fruitive actions. Yang martang upadate dukkena sukha hetave tam tan dhunoti bhagavan pumang chokchati ya krite. So I bring different quotes that make a summary about the fruitive activities in the Vedas. Whatever is produced by the materialist with great pain and labor for so-called happiness, the Supreme Personality, as the time factor, Kala, destroys, and for this reason, the conditioned souls lament. Yeah, in this life, the people accumulate the big money, yes, like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, but after he died, what happens with the money? Bye-bye. But the consciousness, the intelligence that we accumulate in this life, what happens? Yeah, go to the next body, go to the next life. So what is a good investment? Yes. Purify aprimorate our consciousness. Here Krishna explained to Uddhava in Uddhava Gita, Tatrapi karmanam kaitur asvadantriyan chalakshate bhoktus chadukka sukhayo konu arto vivas bhajet. Although the performer of fruitive activities desires perpetual happiness, you put into the wrong place, it is clearly observed that materialistic workers are often unhappy and only occasionally satisfied. Why? Thus proving that they are not independent or in control of their destiny. When a person is always under the superior control of another, Krishna controls the karma law, but how can he expect any valuable results from his unfruitful actions? Here is the Uddhava Gita also. Shrutan chadrishta vadushtan spada suyatyaya vyayahi bahu antaraya kamatvat krish vachapi nishpalan. That material happiness of which we hear, such as promotion to heaven planets for celestial enjoyment, is just like that material happiness we have already experienced. It's the same thing. According to Krishna, yeah? I don't know if Krishna is a good authority, but according to Krishna, but both are polluted by jealousy, envy, decay, and death. Oh my God, same things that have here, have on there in the planet, the celestial planets, according to Krishna. Therefore, just as a attempt to raise crops become fruitless if there are many problems like crop disease, insect plague, or drought, similarly, the attempt to attain material happiness, either on earth or on the heaven planets, is always fruitless because of innumerable obstacles. Continues in Uddhava Gita, Nivritam karma seveta pravritim mat parastyajit jigyasayam sampravrito nadret karma chodanam. One who has fixed me within his mind as the goal of life shall give up activities based on sense gratification and shall instead execute work governed by the regulative principles for advancement. When, however, one is fully engaged in searching out the ultimate truth of the soul, one should not accept the scriptures, Karmakanda portion, Purva Mimamsa, should not accept the scriptural injunctions governing fruitive activities. Yeah, because this, Srimad Bhagavatam, reject all these kinds of scriptures. Yes, one verse is very, very important. It's like a divisor, water divisor. That the second verse, the first verse of the Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Tattva Jigyasa. Now is the time to occupy in jigyasa, in knowledge. Now not is more time to occupy in fruitive activities. So we have a very distinctive branch that divide Karmakanda section and Jnana section. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. And last verses from Bhagavad Gita is a main symbol of Vedic knowledge. Very important Bhagavad Gita. Yang imam pushpitam vacham pravadante avipashtitaha veda vadarata parta nanyada stivadinaha kamat manaha swarga para janma karma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam boga ashwarya. How is this? Boga ashwarya. Gatim prati. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flower words of the Vedas. Yes, because this is fruit activities. The in Vedas is like flowers, and after these flowers, what we have in a tree, after the flowers came the fruits. So I chant this in Vedics, I do this karma kanda process, but after I want the fruit. The fruit of these trees is sense gratifications, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heaven planets, resultant good birth, yes, birth in Switzerland, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Because this they are in the forest of fruitive activities, and they are trying to satisfy. They want to stay in ignorance on there. Yes, ignorance is a bliss. Srila Prabhupada ki, Mahakrinshna Srimad Bhagavatam ki. If you have, very right time. If you have, no. Yeah, okay. We waited 2 minutes, and after you can do questions. Okay, but if you have a commentaries, criticize. Yes.
I like the phrase very much that we think ignorance is bliss. And you said that for people who are, what was this one phrase for people who are not pious or
Okay, we can go on there.
ignorance is the best thing. And sometimes I see myself also
Yeah.
in this situation that I like to be in ignorance in that sense. And it's very bad. So how would you deal with this?
We, devotees, not are in ignorance. We are, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, by the mercy of the Guru, we have enlightenment, yes? Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Meditanyana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The Guru give the knowledge for us. But for the peoples that don't accept a Guru, don't accept Vedic scriptures, for the people's ignorance is a bless, because for me enjoy of the material world, I need forgetfulness of God. It's impossible you have a Krishna consciousness and enjoy of the material world, enjoy in the forest of fruitive activities. So if I enter in a supermarket, and supermarket have many products, yes, have a pasta, cheese, rice, and you can get all this input in your chair, in your car. Yeah, but in the end, what happens? You need to pay this. Same thing is in material world. We are getting many things. Yes, the nature are giving to us air, fresh air, pure water, grains, cow milk, etc., etc. But to me, enjoy this. I need what? I need to remember that they have an author, have a proprietor, have an owner of these things. But if I put these things in supermarket in my bag and go cross and go run out, what happens? Because I'm becoming a thief. So how a thief can have a good conscience, a easy conscience, if he knows that he is a thief. So because this you need forget all things, forget that have a proprietor, have an owner, and this owner is God.
I understand now. If you do this in a shop,
Yeah, supermarket.
then you know
Coop.
and see, but actually we take everything for granted and we never think we are thieves. You understand?
No, repeat please.
If you steal,
Uh-huh.
you are conscious that you are a thief
Mm-hmm.
in a supermarket.
Yeah,
But everybody takes everything from the nature and he never thinks I'm a thief.
yeah.
But actually we are. Because if you are not Krishna conscious, you take it for granted that you can take whatever
Yes.
is around, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine that you is cooking for a restaurant, and this restaurant give money to you do these shops. And if you take these things, pay with the money of the restaurants and cooking. The same thing, the devotee recognizes that Krishna is the proprietor, the owner of all things. And if we use these things to Krishna, he is not a thief. He is a bhakta, he is a devotee. Like a counter in a bank. He count 100 of francs every day. But if he get to himself, what happens is that but if he count and make the properly safe for the bank, he is a good job. This is a difference of a materialistic person and a devout person. Devout act by Krishna. The materialistic person wants to stay in ignorance, forget Krishna. And with this ingenuous activity, he thinks that in the future nothing happens. This is only one life, because this you need to enjoy maximum, because this is the only life, just one life. This is the materialistic view, yes. These are in ignorance, don't they have knowledge, jnana, about the reality of the spiritual soul and the material life, yes. Purusha and Prakriti, the base of the Sankhya philosophy. Okay? Do you have a question? Everything is clear. Pois não.
I didn't understand the video. What was this?
This was to clear, like the peoples don't want to stay in Krishna consciousness. They want, they avoid knowledge and consciousness. They want to prefer stay in ignorance, and they want to know about nothing. That the real attitude. What's the real attitude? Search knowledge. Looking for knowledge. Yes. How I can acquire more and more knowledge. They don't want this. They want satisfy with this life, materialistic life, and because they are happiness in ignorance. They don't want know. They don't want know, because they want if you acquire knowledge, they need abandon many things. But Krishna consciousness not is a bad proposition. Krishna asks for us, give me your 100 francs. And if we give our 100 francs to Krishna, Krishna will give to us millions and millions of francs. Because the natural life is the life together with Krishna. But the peoples in darkness think that this temporary and misery life is everything. Do you know the history of Indra? Indra was cursed and came to material world and became the pig. In the pig life, he are very satisfied with your wife pig, with your kids' pigs that remember a sausage. But when Brahma came, Brahma invited, hey, come back, he was in the, he want to come back? This I want to show to you. Have many people in ignorance, and for these people, ignorance is a bliss, is a happiness. But this is a real happiness? No, this is a suffer. Make sense? After the Vrindavan Chandra, I will explain to you. Don't worry. He's specialist in explaining. Okay, Grantaraj Madhava Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.